This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ah, shit. The people have spoken. We quit last week, and then the people said, come back, and we came back. So here we are.
You think you're out, and they pull you back in.
Yeah, we were just taking a test run last week. We're like, hey, I wonder what would happen if we quit. And then this week, Derek was like, hey, where are you? We're waiting. And I'm like, oh, Bill, we better do a podcast.
Yeah. So I came running.
Here we are. We didn't quit last week.
No.
I got tied up at work. I think I got back at like 6 o'clock, and I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way it's not gonna work this week.
Yeah.
So
plus it was a full weekend for you, so there was no chance to work on anything.
No, there was. I mean, I could have put something together, but it was by the time I got home and after working all weekend, I was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm human too. I mean, contrary to popular belief, I am human.
That's not what I heard on the wire, but okay.
On the Daily Wire?
Yeah, right.
How is everybody doing? It has been 2 long, freaking grueling weeks.
Beautiful bell breakers.
Hello. Welcome to the Break the Bell Podcast. If you've never been here before, this is the Break the Bell Podcast.
This is us.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is it. This is it right here.
I know. We sound cooler, without seeing us.
I know. Everybody's like, oh, cool, you got a podcast? It's like, yeah. Like, that's cool. It's like, it is, but don't listen to it because you will think not as much if you do. Actually, I had somebody at one of my jobs come up to me. She's like, I listened to your podcast this week. I was like, oh, why?
I'd be like, I'm sorry.
And you're still talking to me?
Yeah.
Now I know you're cool because you're still talking to me after listening to our podcast. I need to turn my heater off. It was chilly down here, but it makes a lot of noise in the noise maker things up here.
Yeah.
CD is here. She says,
CD.
It has been too long. Glad you're back, or never left, or both.
Yes, we're glad you're here, CD.
We're glad you are here and never left or are back or both as well. Welcome to the show, everybody. I miss this.
Yes.
I always miss this. Even if I feel like I'm having a break, I'm like sitting there like, man, I could be podcasting right now. Now, to make up for lost time, we're going to kind of be talking about old news because we haven't had a chance to talk about this. We're talking about another school shooting, another a tragedy. I feel like it's actually better to talk about it now because I don't know, the initial like shock of it has kind of wore off. We've got to experience a lot of the bullshit that surrounded it, all the crazy stuff people are saying. And so it's actually like if we would have went on and did the show right like immediately after last week, I feel like we would have missed a lot of the fun stuff that we might get into tonight.
There is a lot of information that didn't come out until a little bit later after.
Oddly enough, a lot of information did come out really quick, though, like quicker than normal. Like the body cam footage being released the next day.
Yeah, when does that ever happen?
Does that ever happen? That's shady as shit to me. And we'll talk about that. We'll get into that, but we are going to talk about this. We're going to talk about all the questions surrounding it from like the motive, like people still don't know the motive. They think they know the motive, but they don't know the motive.
Right.
Like from the gender identity of the shooter, which this may be the first time that we've had that question. Like, gee, does it fucking matter what the gender identity is of a shooter?
No.
To be honest, it's like, I wonder what exactly did the shooter identify? Who cares? As a shooter, the shooter identified as a shooter. That's all you got to know.
And I thought about it as I was driving over. I'm like, they're talking way too much about this, and it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't. It's like, a finger pulled the trigger. Who cares what parts are hanging between their legs?
Exactly.
Those parts weren't pulling the trigger.
Right, exactly. If they did, then we could talk.
Now, we can get into, and we may get into, like, some of the things surrounding gender dysphoria or whatever you can call it these days, or like the taking of hormonal supplements, like how that maybe that could lead to like the excess amounts of testosterone being introduced to a body that isn't made for that. Maybe that has something to play into it, but I think again they are playing way too into this.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually melting people's minds because they're like, we don't know where to go with this because we can't say. Can we say mental issue? Can we not say mental issue? Can we like both sides their heads are spinning because on one hand you got people like, well, it's not the fact that it's a hate crime, it's that this person had a mental disorder. It's like, so you're saying that transgender person had a mental? I'm not saying that the transgenderism was that, but this person. And then on the other hand, you got people like Ben Shapiro's like, well, maybe the fact that she's a transgender, maybe that's a good reason, like a mental reason why that she shouldn't have a gun in the first place. And then it's just like, so you're talking about red flag laws now, and it's just like, well, you know how his brain melts.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is. Both sides are sliding in on it. Like for the first time, both sides are just like, where do we go from here?
Right.
And that's probably the whole reason from it. We're going to talk about all this stuff, obviously. Derek says, I'm just happy that I don't have to listen to Tim Pool rag on the police like every cop everywhere is a corrupt piece of shit. We're glad you don't have to listen to Tim Pool this week either. We're glad you chose us over Tim Pool ragging on the cops. So, obviously, we're going to talk about this shooting. We're going to talk about some of the stuff around it. Oh, yeah, and the question, the other big question, most important question, what shoes was the shooter wearing?
Yes.
So, we gotta answer, we got to fill in the blanks on that one. So, it always comes down to shoes with false flags. It's really odd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember the Vegas shooting, but there was, like, an odd amount of, like, shoes just laying around empty, like, without feet left in them. It's just like, do people literally run out of their shoes when something like I typically have my shoes on rather snug. So in case I do need to run from a shooter, I'm not going to lose my shoes.
Exactly. Even, like, on Friday when we had the storm coming in, I made sure I had my shoes on just in case I had to move.
Just in case we got to get going quick. I want my shoes.
Exactly.
I have heard some weird conspiracy stuff surrounding like shoes as symbolism. I didn't get that. We're not going to get into like deep conspiracy world on this one. First of all, I don't want to Alex Jones, Sandy Hook the shit out of this. Yeah. So, I mean, we might tiptoe around some ideas, but
quick little side note: you mentioned the Vegas shooter. Zero Hedge had just released something where FBI concluded their investigation and decided that the Vegas shooter did his thing because he was not happy about how the casino treated him.
Bull fucking shit.
Right?
No. So it's just like these assholes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna load up.
I had blackjack.
I'm gonna load up 17 AR-15s with bump stocks and 1 million rounds, take them up to whatever, the penthouse suite, and shoot up this concert because I'm pissed at this casino.
Right. So I know I won.
Wouldn't you shoot up the casino if that was the case?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're just going to file that one in non-conclusive still.
Right.
Still to this day, we don't know. And we probably never will because that one has more questions to me than any of these other ones we've ever talked about. I wish we had a show during that time. We might have to revisit the Vegas shooting.
I'd be down for that.
If y'all want to hear us revisit the Vegas shooting, maybe do like well, how many years ago was that? Like 4 years ago now?
Yeah. Was it
18, 17 or 18? 17. Okay.
Yeah.
So 5 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Coming up.
It is actually this month.
All right, maybe we'll have to do a 5-year anniversary of the Vegas shooting. So, if you want to hear that, let us know. If you don't want to hear that, you might be shit out of luck. So. We're going to get right into this episode about this Covenant school shooting. Before we do, obviously, we got to say, check us out all over the social medias because that's where we are. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at our handle, which is at BreakTheBellPod, or you can find links to that at BreakTheBellPod.com. You can also find access to wonderful merchandise at our merch store, such as these, the I Won't Eat Your Bug shirt, We are not your pawns. We got some merch logo stuff, some logo merch stuff, not merch logo stuff, some cups, some different shit. So check that out. Like I said, links to all that stuff is at breakthebellpod.com. I need to update that. It's probably been 6 months since I updated our website. So I apologize if it's out of date because I just haven't updated it. That's no excuse. I just haven't. So check that out. Share us far and wide. Hit that like, subscribe, and share button the way the kids tell you to do. It's like down here somewhere down there.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, take your word
Like and subscribe. Share it with your family and your friends and your coworkers because apparently coworkers will listen to it. I don't even know how that conversation came up. I think she had asked, like, she asked if I could work for her on a Monday or something. I was like, I don't do Mondays because I podcast Mondays. And she's like, oh, what's your podcast? I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Anyways, we have a podcast, and this is it. So
if you're listening, then you must like us.
You must have found us somehow. So strap in, hold on tight, because shit usually gets pretty weird. So
yes,
we're going to play this intro video, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Covenant school shooting. We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say? Talk to me. What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, baby.
Did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
We made it. We're here.
We're back.
We're back. We made it this far. We can't stop now.
That's right.
Like, it's weird how just taking 2 weeks off, like, your brain's just like, all right, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know the thing I've been doing for 3 years? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, what do I click? Am I going to miss this? Like, I like had the mouse hovered over this logo thing right here to pop up, and I'm just like, is that the right one? Is that, am I going to screw something up?
I was so confused I showed up early.
You showed up early. That threw me off. Derek popped in the comments early, so I'm like, let's go ahead and kick this off 2 minutes early. And I'm not going to say anything else because everything will go wrong if it can. So we're here. We are here to talk about another school shooting in the books.
Yeah. What was your thought?
Another one in the books, guys.
Yeah, right.
We did it. That's the government's like,
right.
We did it. Another school shooting in the books.
Yeah. If we,
Let's make sure we capitalize on this crisis like we did the last one.
If we hit 50 before May, then we get steak knives,
I
guys.
think it's like 257 mass shootings this year or something like that. Something outrageous, but we know the definition of mass shooting. So another chance for both sides to like completely rip each other apart. And like I said, this one's strange.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, again, the shooter was apparently trans. Like
recently, though.
Recently, within like the last couple months.
Yeah,
came out as trans. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Like not even the media is fully committed to the trans thing because you see like CNN far left still saying like she, but possibly trans. It's just like what happened? It's kind of like the Believe All Women, except for like Juanita Brodericks or the, except for the women that go against the grain.
Right, exactly.
It's like believe all trans people unless they're mass shooters.
And when I first heard trans, I actually was thinking the other way.
Yeah, but no, it's from female to male trans.
Yep.
So, and we talked about this, I think, with the Jeffrey Dahmer series. Remember we talked about how, maybe it was with my brother, but we talked about how
we did.
The gay community got all up in arms, how this is a poor representation of the gay community.
Right.
And it's like, well, I apologize, but you have to take the bad with the good.
Right, yeah.
Like, how many times has the negative been spotlighted on the straight white community. It's like, but guys, we're not all like mass murderers and racists, but a good bunch of you are, so you all are. And so, I mean, you have to own it, I guess. You can't just be like, we don't accept that gay guy because he was a serial killer, or we don't accept this trans person. That one you don't have to call by their pronouns because they're a mass murderer.
Right.
She no longer has, she, he, whatever, no longer has
But they're
trans
not
rights.
going that way, though. Right? I sent you an article before we showed where they're wanting this person declared like the 7th victim.
Some people are, yes, and I do have that for later, but some people are, but again, like CNN and like some of the news stations are still blatantly calling she and apparently trans and stuff like that. It's like, since when are we apparently or like
since
possibly
they don't want to admit that person's part of that community.
Exactly. And it's just, again, I'm sorry, but you have to take the bad apple with the good. Like, I'm not saying that you should just declare all people like Jeffrey Dahmer, all gay people Jeffrey Dahmers, but you can't just be like, well, he's not one of us because he was a serial killer.
And it's funny because I had read an article, this was actually a year ago, and it was talking about the troubling trend in 80s movies that made trans people look like serial killers. And so, because there was like a couple movies and a TV show where like a trans person that it was
what was that big movie with God, what was his name? I can't even think of it, but it's like the classic look of like a 80s serial killer, and he's very trans.
Well, I mean,
well, first you got Silence of the Lambs.
Right. Silence of the Lambs. That guy was obviously, leaning that way.
Well, there was the guy
or
from
just playing around
from Home Alone 2. The guy who was one of the butlers, didn't he play like a trans
in
killer?
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
To save my life, but that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. The media has no idea how to spin this.
Right.
And the political parties don't know how to spin this, because on one side you've got the gun rights advocates, or the gun laws advocates that are like, oh, we got to take all their guns. And on the other hand, you have the trans advocates that are like, oh, if it wasn't for all these trans people, and oh, if it wasn't for all these guns. And it's just like everybody's just vomiting their own political side. But this one doesn't fit any box. It's not like, well, this was clearly a white guy that hated a bunch of black people, so he shot up that black church or shot up that Jewish church or something like that. It's nothing like that. It's a trans person shot up a Christian church, and I've heard people speculate that it's because of the church's stance on transgenderism or
Tennessee's recent anti-trans laws that they had passed.
But could you not constitute that as a hate crime, though?
I would, yeah.
Even if it was like a vengeance killing or whatever they're calling it, or like a grievance. They said she had a grievance with the school. It's like, but it's still targeting specific group, not targeting the individuals that caused the grievance, because 9-year-olds did not cause that great grievance towards you. It's targeting those specific group of religious. So you could call this, based on what they're saying of every other shooting, a hate crime, and it should be possibly a hate crime.
Yeah.
So let's get right into this. NBC News has everything we need to know about the Nashville elementary school shooting. Everything. I think this came out the day after. What's that?
Was there any doubt?
There might have been. Let me figure out how to pull this up, because I still don't know how to do my job. All right. So, NBC News, everything we need to know about the elementary school shooting. A 28-year-old former student shot through the locked doors of the Covenant School, killing 3 adults and 3 children in an attack on the private Christian institution. It says 6 people, including 3 children, were killed in Nashville on Monday when a heavily armed former student returned in a planned attack on a private Christian school. Now, 28 is a weird... Yeah. I mean, that's a significant amount of time after having gone to that school to decide, I really fucking hated that school. Let's go shoot it up. Instead of like, I dropped out of school a couple months later, I decided to go back, or, like 28, that's 10 years after graduation. Like, this sounds like, was this a full like K through 12, or was she just there in like middle school? Or?
I think it was a full K to 12.
Okay. So she could have been there at any point.
Right.
But still.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Right.
And 10 years to hold that fucking grudge.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who do we got in the comments? TK says, "Hey, fellas, glad you're back." TK.
Thanks, TK.
We are glad to be back, and we are glad that you are back as well. It says, the 28-year-old former student shot through the locked doors of the school just after 10 a.m., police said. In less than an hour, the shooter was killed after a confrontation with multiple Metropolitan Nashville police officers. Investigators are studying writings the shooter left, but Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake said that resentment may have been a partial motive in the attack. So resentment. I don't like these people. They were mean to me. Resentment. Right. Which, honestly, resentment plays a part in probably every shooting. That's true. If you think about it. Except for just deranged psychosis. Right. Most of the time it's resentment. Some form of resentment plays a part. So thank you for clarifying that for us. That, they might have been a little resentful towards the people that they shot. Right. Just I mean, my police, all years of police training and experience led me to
my gut's
that conclusion.
telling me this.
Yes. There's some belief that there was some resentment for having to go to that school.
So take it out on your parents, right? Your parents made you go.
That doesn't. I mean, that's no. I mean, that doesn't fill in the blanks for me.
I didn't like going to school either.
I mean, nobody likes to go to Catholic school, so you can understand why she went back and shot the place up.
Yeah, right.
Says the Covenant School enrolls students from pre-K through 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
So 6th grade.
Yeah,
so we're
12.
talking.
So that's like 14 years.
14, 15 years.
Yeah.
Since a long time to hold resentment towards that school.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit more at play here than that.
Yeah.
3 9-year-old students, a custodian, a substitute teacher, and the head of the school were killed in the attack. Officers first received calls of gunfire at the school at 10:13 a.m. and responded to the scene. Police spokesman Don Aaron said Monday. Upon arrival, officers heard gunshots on the upper level and moved towards the gunfire. After the shooter went to the 2nd floor, officers could see who was firing. 2 of the 5 officers, Officers Rex Engelbert and Michael Colizzo, returned fire. By 10:27 a.m., the shooter was dead, according to police. So you're talking phone call at 10:13, shooter dead by 10:27. So time to get there,
right,
and neutralize the situation. Comparable to Uvalde.
Yeah, not even close.
I'm going to have to go 1 for Nashville police, 0 for Uvalde police.
Yeah, big time.
I'm pretty sure the Nashville PD won that battle. I mean, if we're keeping score.
Yeah. I will.
I mean, of all the things to keep score, this might be the most fucked up, but if we're keeping score, Nashville took the cake on that one.
Yeah.
Body camera footage showed officers approaching the school, informed by a woman outside that students were on lockdown, but 2 children were unaccounted for. Officers hurried into the school where alarms were blazing and searched a first-floor office before rushing up the stairwell. The officers walked down 2 hallways before coming face-to-face with the shooter, who was standing in what appeared to be an atrium. Police identified the shooter as Audrey Hale, a 28-year-old who previously attended the school. Hale entered the school with 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun, shooting through the glass of locked entrance doors to get inside. Now, what I found interesting is the 2 assault-style rifles that they had was an AR-style rifle, a Caltech Sub 2000, and a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. 3 of the weapons of choice of me. That's what I own. Those are 3 that I currently possess. Now, what's interesting is when I was reading about this, like, they must not know what a Caltech 2000 is, because it's the one that can fold up to like 14 inches.
Right.
And fit
and that seemed like the primary
weapon
weapon of choice.
Now, they're focused mainly on this AR,
of course,
because that's because in this article that described the gun she had, it was like, well, the Caltech Sub 2000, it's just a 9mm pistol round, but the AR is a rifle round, which is higher caliber, and the rifling causes it to tumble through the body and twist through the body, causing more damage. And it's just higher caliber, first of all, and it's a rifle. But they don't know. I mean, I thought for sure they were going to go head over heels over this fold, like takedown.
Oh yeah, no, it's barely mentioned. And like I said, when you look at the video, that's the weapon that this person is using.
Yes,
to bust through the glass and then go through the classrooms.
Yeah,
and what I'm curious about is, and I don't think I've seen it anywhere, is when you look at the video, it looks like this person has had training. Like,
yes.
Looked like this person knew what they were doing. They knew how to clear the rooms.
Well, I think they said she did have weapons training.
Okay.
Some sort of weapons training, but still waddled like a penguin, though, while clearing the room, which was weird.
Yeah.
I guess we don't need to criticize that, but I think we can.
Yeah. I think it's worth it.
Says, Hale entered the school with 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun. Now, one point to note was the M&P shield she had was the easy version that slides easier.
Oh, okay.
I don't own the easy version, so I have.
I wasn't even going there.
I have the man version because it says Hale had detailed maps of the school and carefully planned the attack, according to police. Drake said Hale fired at anyone that they came into contact with. The 6 people who were killed Monday, see, they don't even know what to call him, because they said Hale, everybody's saying Hale identifies as male and he, him, and stuff. They're saying they because they're just like, fuck it, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I don't want this.
Yeah.
The victims, says, we talked about it, it's 3 kids and custodian, a teacher, and a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
She's like, why did I pick this?
She didn't want to get called in that day.
And then the head of the school. It talks about the people, and that's, here's a little bit about the suspect. That's what I want to get to. Police named Hale as the sole person, saying that a nearby car helped identify the shooter. Drake said officials believe Hale may have identified as transgender, but did not provide more information. Hale legally purchased 7 firearms through 5 local gun stores, police said Tuesday. Hale's parents were aware of only 1 gun, which they believed had been sold. Drake said Tuesday Hale had been receiving care for an emotional disorder, but did not offer additional details regarding the diagnosis or treatment. Former school headmaster Bill Campbell said he believed Hale transferred out of Covenant School after 4th grade, citing old yearbooks as evidence. So now we're talking about 9 years old.
Right. Interesting.
And she's 28. So we're talking almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
20-year grudge. Campbell said that nothing about Hale stood out as potential red flag and called Hale a typical child who was loved and appreciated like all of our students. Well, what are you going to look back 20 years and be like, well, I should have seen that one coming.
Right.
They threw their spaghetti at the wall in the middle of lunch hour, so I should have known that this was going to lead 19 years later to this mass school shooting.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, we should have seen this coming. The red flags were there, guys. They dig so much in these things, especially in this one. It's like the ones that you really should be looking into, like the connections to the FBI, the connections to mental disorders, the connections to psychosis, things like that. They're just like, no, they're just a fucking racist. And this one, they're just like, well, can you tell us anything? Is there anything from her time here that would raise suspicion?
From when she's 9? Yeah. Let me think back.
It's like, I'm going to get into some of the things that students have said, like former basketball teammates have said about her.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking like 9 years ago.
Come to think about it, she was very aggressive at dodgeball.
Yeah, it's just like we're digging so hard, because I think they want to shy away from saying this person's mentally unstable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't even have to say that trans is a mental condition.
Yeah.
And still say, but there's all these other mental conditions out there. But it's like, they're like, oh, she had an emotional disorder.
Yeah.
And that's all we're going to say. Now, there's got to be something else out there, an underlying problem. It's just like, she's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's it. She's just fucking nuts. And you can say whatever you want, but there's something, either that or she's an FBI, freaking.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever you call them.
Yeah.
What was that movie? The CIA, what do they call that? where they just say the word and Manchurian candidate.
Oh, yeah.
She was either nuts or she was a Manchurian candidate. That's our only two options here, guys. That's it.
And I think they would go much more into the Manchurian than they would but being nuts.
Well, obviously. So, what do you think about the fact she had like detailed maps?
Yeah,
and very very in-depth planning.
My understanding is that she had cherry-picked 2 schools to do and was doing her research on 2 different schools and chose this one because this one had lighter security than the other one.
But were they both schools that she's been to?
No, just this one was the one she had been to. The other one was just another I don't even know if it was a Christian school. I hadn't heard what the other school was.
Well, that's similar to the Vegas shoot. See, the thing with the Vegas shooting, because remember they said the Vegas shooter had plans to shoot up like other events and was scouting like other concerts. So back to what you're saying, how the FBI is like, oh, they're just pissed off at the casino. It's like he was planning like a mass killing of multiple events.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like this one. It's just like, it's not on a whim, like where you're just like, just go ballistic and decide to go shoot up a school.
Yeah.
Not saying that's normal, but you would think that's how that scenario would go down.
That's how they made it sound like.
Not so much, hey, we're planning this out. I'm scouting this out. I got maps, detailed maps drawn. I know the security codes. I know the level of. I would think a Christian school would be the one I would least likely enter because. Right. A lot of those might be carrying.
Yeah, right.
A lot of them might be, just knowing what I know.
And apparently that was the difference, is that they weren't carrying at this school.
Well, somebody on the 911 call said that she believed some of the teachers could be packing, is what she said.
Okay.
But who knows? They were just using that against the people that, because Massey came out this week and was like, no school that's ever allowed teachers to carry has ever had a mass shooting. So their defense was, well, apparently a couple teachers may have been packing heat in this Covenant school.
Okay.
So people are kind of coming out really pissed off at this one. Again, this is the one that's like melting brains.
Yeah.
Like the media doesn't know how to spin it. This is probably the one, like, there's the shootings that go so well with the narrative that they keep talking about it forever. And this one, the media is like, can this one just fucking go away?
Yeah. Right.
But then you got like the David Hoggs and people out there that are just like, we need to talk about school violence. And like, not this one, dude. Please, not this one. Can you just shut the fuck up about this one? Like, it's
move on.
It's not even like bigoted right-wing extremists. What do you want us to do with this? How are we supposed to spin this one if there's not right-wing extremists?
Yeah.
You got something there? You look
I'm looking. I'm trying. I wanted to know what the other school was. Was it also a Christian school?
I have no idea. I didn't hear about another one. All I know is it's weird. Like, it's odd when the perpetrator like plans out something so detailed, especially with like a school of like 9-year-olds. That sounds more of like I wouldn't call it a crime of passion, but just just like that, like on a whim.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta shoot something like right now, and these people happen to be in my way. This person's like, you know what? I just want to fucking shoot little kids.
Right.
And I just want to shoot lots of little fucking kids.
And that's one of the things. It's like typically crimes of passion are like impulse crimes, right?
That's
like
what I'm saying.
Not planned out for months at a time.
Now, if it was like a grudge, like they're saying, I could see planned out.
Yeah.
But then it would be more of, all right, I am like targeting this in, which she did kill the headmaster or whatever, the principal or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that what they're saying is that it's because he stepped out to try to like, distract from the kids and stuff, and then got shot. It wasn't like she was like, all right, where's that motherfucker at? Where's this guy at? I'm going to kill him. And then I'm going to kill that teacher because she failed me.
Right.
It's just like you walk into the school and you start shooting everything that moves.
Yeah. Right.
That's not
a
planned out event that I would.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
Again, from the video, it looked like she was using the sub to target, and then she was planning on saving the AR for the police. And she just never got around to getting it because they dropped her as soon as they came around the corner.
She didn't give her a chance to pull the AR out, I guess. Now, one thing a question I had posed on Twitter, because again, this is seemingly like from the surface at least. Like we can't get into whatever bizarre thing is going on in this person's head. From the surface, if you look at it in a certain light, it would almost appear that this was a trans person that was out to get Christians because they're anti-trans.
Yeah, like you said, a hate crime.
Is there such a thing? This was my question on Twitter. Is there such a thing as reverse hate crimes?
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as reverse racism, so there can't be reverse hate crimes. Because you can't have a like minority group or a like held down group. You can't have them commit hate crimes on their oppressors.
That's true. Yeah, that's justice, right?
Yeah, I mean
equity.
Exactly. That's all this is. It's just equity. Trans need school shooters too. TK says that's very lucky that most of the nut jobs that did these weren't super good at plotting. We need to have cohort tactical teams at schools. It's a sad reality, but reality it is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is sad that we need to plan out like SWAT teams now at our schools.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, people get in arms if you even talk about arming teachers. I mean, there are some crazy teachers that I would say don't fucking arm.
I'm sure I would have had teachers that would have shot me.
Oh, yeah. I would have shot you if I was your teacher.
I figured.
Now, let's talk about this shooter a little bit, because there's some oddities about the shooter. And again, like I said, they're really digging to find these oddities. But there were some quirks about this the individual. Because this CNN article talks about how the Nashville shooter, Audrey Hale, CNN's not even calling her by the male version of the name.
Because what was her male version name?
I don't
remember.
I don't remember.
I've only seen it mentioned
Aiden or
once.
Something like that, yeah.
Aiden, that was it, Aiden.
Nashville shooter Audrey Hale had a childlike obsession with staying a child, says a college classmate. Now, you think this is going to get really deep and really weird. This person has like Peter Pan syndrome, like Michael Jackson or something.
Yeah.
But it talks about the shooting. It talks about Hale's parents saying she had an emotional disorder, quote unquote. And the shooter had various writings and maps of the school as well as drawings. Says police know Hale left home Monday morning with a red bag, and Hale's mother didn't know weapons were inside. So nothing about, except for the emotional disorder, nothing.
But for one of the things I had read is the parents said, "Hey, what's in the bag?" And she just kind of like looked at him weird and walked out. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, I know."
I'd say typical
28-year-old.
Yeah, I guess I was going to say typical teenage drama, but it says while the shooter's gender identity is unclear, police told CNN that Hale was assigned female at birth and used male pronouns on social media. Then it talks about the shooting, and it talks about this Avriana Patton, a former basketball teammate, who told CNN that she's still trying to process it all. So a lot of this is revolving around these former basketball teammates.
Right.
She says, "I knew her well when we were kids." Again, what does that have to do with now?
Well, and what does that mean, kids? Like 14,
yeah, well, again,
12, 9?
She was a former basketball, so probably college, former basketball teammate. Because it talks about, like, college classmates that said this. Yeah, college classmate says. Okay. So still probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. It says, where was I at? Yeah, because it says, "I didn't know the adult. I don't know that side of her." Patton said she received an Instagram message at 9:57 that morning. So Hale just randomly reaches out to her on social media after, 7 years, little contact, and says, "One day this will make more sense. I've left more than enough evidence behind, but something bad is going to happen." Patton said she was not sure why Hale reached out. "I'm asking God the same question," Patton told Lemon. When they were on the team together, Patton said Hale was very quiet and very shy, and they joked around together. Again, telling us nothing.
Right.
"We got to see her grow in her skill on the court. We did really good that year. We went all the way to the city championship, so it was a really good year for us. We had a real camaraderie." Then she went on to graduate with an art degree at Nashville Art College. It says an online portfolio appears to show a collection of Hale's work, including images of professional logos, cartoons, animals, and a parent self-portrait. One included the phrase, "To be a kid forever and ever."
That doesn't tell you anything.
Well, that's her obsession with being a child forever.
Okay.
And then I think it said there was one line on down that just said that she wanted to be a kid, or she was obsessed with.
I think there was an instructor that said that she could see her being a artist for like a children's book.
Yeah, it says Hale's work was whimsical and childlike, describing the student as small and quiet. It says even though they were the same age, Cody said, so this is somebody else, Cody said he thought Hale was much younger because she dressed like a little kid and brought stuffed animals to class. Cody said he thought she had a childlike obsession with staying a child. Okay, so there's that. She had childish, like, artwork.
Mm-hmm.
She dressed childish. And then she fucking shot up a school.
Right. Yeah.
So,
with little kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something there, but I feel again that they're digging for something. They're digging for more than.
Yeah. One of the things I'd read that I hadn't heard you mention yet is that apparently someone she was very close to had died recently.
One of their college teammates had died.
And she seemed like everything that she was posting was fixated on this woman who died.
Yeah, well, she got very obsessive about the former basketball team, like middle school basketball team. We're not talking like college, like a few years ago, like a middle school basketball team. She was kind of obsessed with this,
and that was when she started kind of referring to male pronouns at that point.
Oh, I didn't catch that one. But this is from the Tennessean. It says the Nashville school shooter was obsessive about former middle school basketball team. Let's scroll down because she wrote to that Abrianna Patton that she was planning to die, and that was part of the Instagram post that she had sent her that day. Right. Says Hale, who police said was transgender and recently began using male pronouns, seemed to cherish the time playing middle school basketball at Nashville Arts Magnet School. A shy girl at the time, Hale's more athletic teammates said they embraced Hale and tried to make her feel like part of the Hardwood family. Hale is now the third member of that team to die in the past 8 months. Now that is freaking bizarre to me.
That is bizarre.
That is there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're into like the conspiracy numerology or something, like the 3 has something to do with something, or all bad things happen in 3s, or there's something there. Hale never seemed to forget the kindness extended by the teammates, but Hale's focus on the team and former teammates resulted in awkward and strange interactions with those teammates in recent years. One teammate described Hale's preoccupation with her and the team as obsessive and stalkerish. 2 of her former teammates were recently killed in car accidents. Sydney Sims was 27 when she died from injuries suffered in a 2-car crash in Nashville in August. Markay Lachelle Hamilton was 29 when she died at the scene of a crash on I-65 in Nashville in February. Talks about her manifesto. It doesn't really say anything that was in that manifesto besides like maps and planning it out. But it does go on to say, Hale played middle school girls basketball as a shy, small kid at school where everyone made the team. Remembered Antoine Buchanan, a former head coach who coached Hale. Buchanan is now the head varsity girls coach at Antioch High School. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, right.
In Hale's 8th grade year, the team was an immensely talented group that made it to the Final Four of the city tournament. Some teammates remember Hale as being a player who gave max effort, but Buchanan remembered a bench warmer. She would have played if we were really winning or really losing, he said. What a dick. Yeah, Patton, who called the police after receiving the final message from Hale on Monday, remembers a close-knit team. Audrey was super timid when we first met. We had real camaraderie. As far as the court, we were like a family. And they keep mentioning how she was shy. Then she ran track in high school. Who cares? I want to get to the weird stuff. It says, in February, Hale came uninvited to a birthday party at Panobi's Bar and restaurant in Goodlettsville that was attended by some of the members of that middle school team. So that middle school team, apparently they're still good friends.
Right, they hang out.
Minus her, and maybe she just wants to feel connected because she just shows up uninvited. They're like, how the fuck did you even know about that?
Right.
And she was not using male pronouns at the time, and it says she was acting visibly drunk and stumbling and slurring words. It sounds like a bit of an attention hog, attention seeker.
Right.
Says other people at the party said Hale hadn't had anything to drink. Everyone believed she was pretending to be drunk at the party, and she hadn't been invited to. Phillips hadn't seen Hale in person for many years, she said, but remembering Hale's mother from middle school playing days, Phillips tried to get Hale's phone so she could contact Hale's family and get her home safely. But Hale refused. The other people at the party weren't sure of what to do. Everybody was confused. It was just rubbing us in a weird way, like giving us a really negative feeling. It didn't feel right. So this was a few months ago, I think, or a few years ago, not long ago. After Hale refused all help getting home, Phillips left, but soon started getting social media messages from Hale begging her to come back. The messages were clear and grammatically correct, however, hardly the kind of message sent by someone as inebriated as Hale was acting. A little strange behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it before, to be honest. I've seen people act drunker than they are just to kind of fit in, but I've never seen people act drunker than everybody else there. I've seen people be drunker than everybody else there, but the acting drunker, it feels like maybe a kind of desperate cry for help in some ways.
Well, it sounded like, the time where she felt most connected was middle school, and that's what she was trying to keep hold of.
Right. Says Phillips saw Hale later in 22 as the celebration of life for one of the teammates that died in the car crash, Sydney Sims. It says, I was expressing to her, it says, she remembers after the funeral, Hale followed her to her car to continue to hang out. Like, she just like, come on, let's go hang out. And she said she expressed to her that it was not the time or the place and that we were all grieving. In a private Instagram post, Sims' sister Taylor described how she and her sister had not had any contact with Hale for years until Hale attended Sims' funeral. But then Hale showed up uninvited to another family event. She then popped up uninvited to my sister's painting that my mom held a few weeks ago. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be the funeral, wouldn't it? Because Sim's sister was the one who died, so must have been like the funeral or something. It says, odd, I still don't know how she found out. So it's some other event after the funeral.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe some art thing for the sister or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It says a former classmate at the School of Arts remembered Hale would often play basketball in the gym after school, although it doesn't appear she played any school teams after middle school. Says Hale ended a final Instagram post, which Hale subsequently told Patton was a suicide note, in a direct message with a series of 5 emojis. One of them was a basketball. A little weird behavior, like maybe, what's it called, like where you're kind of stuck in that position of time, like that childish, like you can't mature from that time.
Right,
period. I don't know what that disorder is called, but I don't know. Maybe it'd be interesting to look and see what happened to this individual in middle school, besides, oh, I hate this. It wasn't even middle school that she hated that school, because that was 4th grade.
Yeah, that was before middle school.
Yeah, so something, I feel like something traumatic probably happened in this person's life in middle school for her to be reliving these middle school. Or maybe that was the last time she was fucking happy.
Right, and that's what it sounds like. That was the last time she felt connected to anybody, was in middle school. Maybe something bad happened to her at the elementary school.
Or that, or maybe something bad happened to her afterwards, and she goes back to that time in middle school, and I don't know.
That was her happy place, but
I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff here.
Yeah.
But again, I don't feel like any of this would be the focus if this was like a straight white dude that shot up like a black church.
Right.
They wouldn't be digging back into like middle school yearbooks.
He was just
except for maybe looking for
racist.
A Twitter post where he said the N-word or something like that. I mean, that's as deep as it would go.
Yeah.
He would just be a racist bigot.
Yeah.
That's another right-wing radical.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary to see here. He's just a white guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, he shoots up a black church.
Right.
But this one, they're just like, oh, this is weird. What, like, we got to start looking into the background. Well, she was shy, and she was obsessive, and she was, I don't know.
Lost some friends, had emotional baggage. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and she was obsessed with being a child, or, she was clearly stuck on something.
Yeah,
here.
right. Yeah.
And maybe that not to go down the whole mental disorder route for transgenderism, but maybe that loss of like disconnect is what led her to be like, well, maybe I'm a dude. Like I cannot connect anywhere. Like there is no connect anywhere, and she was just trying to find any kind of identity of some sort.
Right, and that's what it sounds like.
The problem is that's going to be you're going to see more and more of this coming up, because the whole fad of gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care.
Yeah.
The fad of transgenderism, that's just like, oh, you're a teenager, you don't know who you are, which no teenager has a fucking clue who they are, but it was like, well, have you met my Lord and Savior transgenderism?
Right.
I mean, it's just like, oh, you feel lost? You must be transgender, or you must be this, or you must be that. Oh, you're confused as a teenager? Oh, you must be like, instead of, this is normal for you to have these questions. Here, let's push you along. Well, that is bigoted. That is homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics you can think of, by trying to coerce your teenager through these confusing times that teenagers go through. You're going to see a shit ton of this in probably 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely.
When those kids are 28 years old.
Yeah.
Completely lost, no identity, no, like, just wandering around to whatever the next trend is, because nobody was able to tell them, this is normal here. Give you a little boost, like pushing the baby bird out of a nest. It's like, oh, you're an abusive parent if you push your baby bird out of the nest. Well, gonna have
it's part of growing up, is figuring out who you are. And like you said, now they're throwing this label on you. Be like, well, maybe you're not comfortable in your own skin. You know,
well, I'm not. I'm a fucking teenager.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Have you seen the things that are growing on me right now?
Yeah, right.
Nobody's happy in their skin as a teenager.
Right.
Nobody.
Yes.
So instead of normalizing the experiences you're going through, let's just throw everything at it and just be like, oh, you could be that. You could be a unicorn. You could be, you know, it's going to get worse.
It is going to get much worse.
The start.
Yes.
This is where it starts. I'm not saying there's going to necessarily all the trans people are going to come out and have mass shootings, but depression is going to be outrageous. Suicide's going to be outrageous.
Drug use,
yes,
alcoholism.
It's going to be it's going to be insane. Just the lack of identity. It's not. It's not. Oh, I found my. It's a lack of identity. Like searching for an identity, and nobody is fucking willing to guide you towards finding an identity,
because they're going to shoehorn you into what they want to shoehorn you in, and then the whole rest of your life, until you figure yourself out through a lot of pain, you're going to have to be like, wait, this doesn't seem right either.
So interestingly enough, this came right about a time that a purported Trans Day of Vengeance is supposed to be kicking off.
Huh.
Now there was things posted for this, and then suddenly a trans person shot up a school, and they're like, not that kind of vengeance.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we should rename this as trans. I think they renamed it Trans Day of Visibility or something like that.
Yes, I think I saw that. Yes.
But yeah, it started out as Trans Day of Vengeance.
Fuck.
But honestly, I feel like, because this comes from Daily Wire, but I feel like obviously the right wing is going to blow this.
Oh, fuck
well, they called for a Trans Day.
Yeah, this is
but
it.
Some of them actually are calling for that, and I'll show you that here in a second. But this was from the Daily Wire. It says trans radicals plan Day of Vengeance in D.C. alongside firearms training. I can't read that without Ben Shapiro's voice. Like, I hear it in my head.
Do it.
It's like trans radicals plan Day of Vengeance in D.C. along. I can't even read fast enough. There's too many big words. I don't know. Anyway, I did a better off the cuff earlier. If you missed the intro, I did a much better Ben Shapiro. A group of transgender activists is planning a Day of Vengeance in Washington, D.C. for March 31st through April 2nd while raising money for firearms training this week, according to its online material. Raising money? So,
Yes, let's kickstart that.
I mean, I'm fine with it if everybody takes firearms training. I just find the two of these combined is just a little bit odd. Like trans activism, let's raise money for firearms training. Like, those just don't.
That's a red flag. Let's say.
I don't know what this is. The Trans Radical Activist Network, or TRAN.
Wait, what?
Trans Radical Activist Network, also known as TRAN, creative, said on Twitter that the time is now. Enough is enough. An uploaded posters to TikTok that said, "We want more than visibility. Trans Day of Vengeance. Stop trans genocide." Now, I mean, I haven't been reading a lot of the news lately.
Yeah.
But I missed the part of the trans genocide. Like, I missed that.
There's been a lot of states, including our own, who has passed bills that are not allowing
minors to have freaking cut their genitals off.
Yes.
So that
or
we're
hormone
seeing,
therapy.
So that we are seeing as trans genocide.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
I learned something new today.
Yes.
Huh. So let your kid cut their genitals off, or you are committing genocide right now as we speak. Are you perpetrating genocide?
Yeah.
It says the self-professed Virginia chapter of the group said on Twitter that it would host a dance party at Richmond Club on Tuesday to raise money benefiting firearms self-defense training for trans Virginians.
Huh.
Come boogie with us and defend trans life.
That explains the whole movement right there.
So let's go have a dance party to raise funds for firearm training.
That's fucking what Ukraine needs to do. They don't need the United States giving. They need to just have a giant dance party to get money.
Zelensky tried that, remember? He had the video in high heels.
Right, yes.
He tried it, and it didn't work, so he's like, all right, let's have a fucking war instead. That's where this leads. Fucking war. Dance party fundraiser, March 7th, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., 18 plus, $10 suggested admission. Benefiting firearms / self-defense training for trans Virginians. Look, I fully support firearms and self-defense training for all Americans. Now, what's interesting, though, is the same people are going to decry, like, firearms for trans people while, on the other hand, saying we need more gun laws.
Yeah.
You can't have your sparkly cake, glitter cake, and eat it, too.
Yes. Though you may try.
Derek says trans dance telethon. That is exactly what Zelensky did, I'm pretty sure. The National Group's website for Day of Vengeance said, like the Stonewall riots, the gays and lesbians were experiencing what the trans community is facing now. This cycle of hate needs to end. In fact, it must. Allies, siblings, we need you now more than ever. I was a radical revolutionist. I'm still a revolutionist. I am glad I was in the Stonewall riot. I remember when someone threw a Molotov cocktail. I thought, my God, the revolution is here.
Wait, what's
the revolution
Stonewall
is finally
riot?
here. Must have been a gay riot because they talked about they're experiencing now what the gays experienced back then.
Interesting.
So are they calling for literal riots and Molotov cocktails here? Because they're saying, I'm a revolutionist. I'm still a revolutionist. And when I saw the Molotov cocktail, I thought, my God, the revolution is finally here. So
That's
it
what
sounds like it's not like, hey, guys, this is going to be bad. It's like, this is going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
Let's arm up our citizens and arm them with Molotov cocktails. So since then, people have kind of been pointing at this, obviously, since the shooting here. They're like, this might have helped spawn this. And they're like, no, we have nothing to do with that. But you have people that say Donald Trump incited January 6th.
Right.
But this wouldn't incite that kind of
because this is justice.
lone nut job.
Right.
Like this, like it's fine on the one hand for people to get up and say, you know what, we need to march on the Capitol and take it back as our own. And people are like, oh, I took that fucking literally and marched on the Capitol and took it back.
I didn't know that wasn't real.
And they're like, this is on him.
Yeah.
But for people to be like, we need to stand up and have a revolution and arm ourselves. And I mean, this is kind of, there's not a direct connection here, but you could definitely see how this could cause a nut job to be like, you know what, you're right. We do need to arm ourselves.
Yes.
We need I'm going to spark that revolution.
Yeah, I'm going to that Christian school down the street.
Now, this one might not necessarily. You might have an argument about, hey, we weren't saying that. But what about, and I don't know where this comes from, but this has the hashtag of Trans Day of Vengeance. And I don't care if this person wants to stand holding a gun. Those guns look freaking cool, to be honest.
Cool.
I mean,
the mask is kind of gay.
Yeah, well, the rest of everything is. But it says kill. So this one isn't one that we can really. You can't really explain this one away too much because it says kill Christ cucks. I'm guessing they're referring to Christians.
Oh, okay.
Behead Christ cucks. Roundhouse kick a Christ cuck in the concrete. Slam dunk a Christ cuck baby into the trash can.
Jeez.
Crucify filthy Christ cucks. Defecate in Christ cucks' food. Launch Christ cucks into the sun.
Wow.
Hashtag Day of Trans Vengeance. Or Trans Day of Vengeance.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain that one away.
A part of me wants to think that this is fake. That some like super right-wing
right, some Christian person's like, that'll get them.
But would that Christian person know what a cuck even meant, though?
I've never heard that term, Christ cuck.
I haven't either, but I don't know.
I probably not. My guess is
if this is legitimate, then this is definitely blatantly calling for violence on it. This is calling for hate crimes, literal hate crimes here.
Absolutely it is.
And this, in some countries, the other way around would lead to arrests.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even in this country if you posted something like that.
Absolutely. The FBI would totally find out who posted it, find the IP, track the person down, and
could you imagine if this was like a ginger-beard white guy standing with that same gear in like a Hawaiian print shirt and it said, kill transgenders,
right?
Behead transgenders, roundhouse kick a transgender in the concrete, slam dunk transgender babies in the trash can. I mean, I guess it's possible these days.
It's possible.
Crucify filthy transgender. I mean, somebody would literally be at your door.
Yes.
I hope somebody doesn't cut that out.
This is what he said, officer.
Listen to this little clip from the Break the Bell podcast. I mean, there's just so much fucking weirdness here.
Yeah.
Like this was actually the spokesperson for the mayor of Arizona, or the governor of Arizona. So Katie Hobbs's spokesperson posted this. It says, "Us when we see transphobes," and it's a woman holding 2 revolvers.
Yeah.
I mean, she's since been fired because Katie Hobbs was like, "Yeah, that doesn't look good.
That doesn't
the
go
optics
well.
here aren't great." I'm not talking about the optics on your revolvers either. This does not look good. So I mean, you can say that they're not literally calling for violence, but there are people and public people out there that are literally calling for violence. Like, this isn't related to transgender, but do you remember on The View? It was oh shit, what's that actress that got in trouble in Vietnam because of her
Jane Fonda?
Jane Fonda. She was on The View recently, and regarding to the overturn of Roe v. Wade. And they're like, if activism, what can we do besides activism or this or that and protest? And she's like, murder. And they're like, she's just kidding. And she just looks at him straight face. She's just kidding. She's like, and they're like, wait, what'd you say? Murder. She's just, you shouldn't say that. She's just kidding. And she just doesn't even crack a smile. She's just like,
because she's very serious.
Yeah, I mean, they're dead serious. You can say all you want. Well, that's just, they're just being facetious. It's just irony at its fine. No, these people are fucking serious, and a lot of them are fucking nuts. Yeah. The last example I have, we got to get to break, but the last example I have is this person here in Tennessee a couple days before. It's a trans person calling, I mean, this, just watch this video.
Okay.
Trans people in Tennessee, it's time to fucking fight. Trans allies in Tennessee, it's time to fucking fight. Trans women, if they lock you up for identifying as a woman, fight, resist. You're gonna die anyways. We're going to die anyways. It's time.
Is this a fucking cult or what?
Right. No, it is exactly a cult.
Like, you're gonna die. Like, they're out to kill you. They're gonna kill you either way. So you might as well take out a few as you go. Where is this? Where's this killing? I know there are. ones and twos, like hate crimes out there. I know that
right.
exists.
No, absolutely there is.
But this person is claiming that all trans people are going to be fucking killed in this war against the straight people. So you might as well go out fighting.
Go ahead and take out a couple while you can. Yeah.
Right.
Time to fucking resist. Fight them. Hurt them. If they put their hands on you, beat them.
And I'm fine with
Trans
that.
people in
I am
Tennessee-
fine with beating somebody that puts their hands on you. I'm fully endorse that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this whole mentality that, hey, you're going to fucking die. This is like, what is this, like the trans Martin Luther King Jr.?
No, because that was non-intervention, right?
Well, okay, the trans Malcolm X. How
there you
about
go.
that?
That's better. Yes.
But basically the mentality is like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Some of us are going
But have you heard anybody saying, "Hey, we need to wipe out the trans"? Like you said, their version of being considered like a war on them is that you're not allowing children to get transition surgery
until they're
until they're old
yes.
enough to make that decision. And so it's just totally screwed.
TK says it's obvious they're instigating violent uprisings. They're all CIA ops, and Ray Epps are everywhere. And I agree with all of these statements because my question is, who's the one calling for violence here? Because they're all like talking about all these transphobes and how violent they are. Who's calling for? I mean, the media would have it played out that just based on what we are seeing here, that trans people are just being executed on the spot. And yes, if that were the case, I would agree with this. It's just like, go out swinging.
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
out, just
Absolutely.
go out fighting. But
and maybe in Russia that's happening, but not here.
Maybe it's just our straight white privilege that we're not seeing. We're just blind to that.
Well, maybe it's. I mean, we did miss the whole war on Asians a couple years ago, right?
But we're gonna see a lot more of this kind of, fogging, like clouding out the shooting that just happened, because it's like talking about all this like violence towards transgender people, talking about all the, and then everybody's gonna forget, or it's just going to kind of whitewash that event and just be like, you don't know what that person had been dealing with this whole time. I mean, it's only understandable.
What's going to happen is they're going to take Audrey Hale, and Audrey Hale is going to become the next George Floyd.
Oh, God.
I promise you that. There's going to be murals of her face, downtown buildings. Her face is going to be on flags. They are going to make a martyr out of her.
Maybe.
They are.
They're either going to make a martyr out of her, or they're going to deny that she was ever... It's going to come out that she was never trans. Because, I mean, we've seen several clips that were like, allegedly she was trans. There's nothing to confirm that.
But that's not from the community, though. That's just from mainstream media.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see which way it goes. Because the media is trying to mark this up as not as trans as... We're not talking like that trans. We're talking about just kind of trans. So we're not talking about you people. We're talking about
maybe wear briefs.
Yes, exactly. Not real trans, because clearly she had a mental disorder, and you guys don't have mental disorders. You're fine. That's fine. We are overdue for a break. I want to get more into this and maybe some of the conspiracy talk. The possibilities of like this just to usher in new gun laws, which is most likely what's going to happen either way. Derek Ambrose says, #not a real trans. I love it. We're going to take 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to get something to drink, and because God knows we need something to drink with this one. And when we come back, we're going to continue, because we still haven't talked about the shoes yet. We got to talk about the shoes.
Yes,
so,
that's right. The whole basis of the show.
Yes. We're going to take a couple minutes, and then we'll get right back into this. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. we're back. Talking about this Covenant school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. We talked about a little bit about the questionable identity. Talked about some of her background, maybe like maybe some trauma background, which I feel like that's not being investigated enough in most of these cases. It's just like, let's backtrack and see like what started all of this, where this came from. Like, I'm not saying we, instead of locking them up, we should, but I feel like if we maybe understood what led to this, maybe we could prevent others.
Right. No, I agree.
I mean, it could be. Very well, it could be a mixture of, like, I'd like to see what kind of SSRIs this person's on. Yeah. I'd like to see what kind of pharmaceutical cocktails this person's had in their past. Like, what kind of hormonal treatments this person has had.
Right.
Because those are things that we can't really discuss, even past the mental disorders and transgenderism and stuff. God forbid we talk about, like, the impact that SSRIs have on kids and on young adults and on development and stuff and on brain function. How many times do you find out, hey, this person was being treated for depression? It's like, well, define treatment as that SSRIs, because it might not be the depression that caused it. It might have been the SSRIs that caused it. It's like side effects include
suicide
and mass murder. Get Xanax today. God, I got junk in my throat now. So we talked about the Trans Day of Vengeance, and then part of me started wondering, maybe, because this one, like I said, does not fit the box at all. Doesn't fit the mold at all. Maybe this one was intentional to play into the Republicans' response to get them to think that red flag laws were their idea.
Right. Yeah.
It's like I said, Ben Shapiro came out and he's like, well, maybe we should look at maybe transgender people don't have the mental capacity to own guns. And it's just like, well, now you're talking about people with diagnosed mental conditions not being allowed, and now you're talking red flags, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like now all of a sudden you're okay with red flags.
Yeah.
And once you open that door up, you're opening the door to a lot of red flag laws. And so maybe they're like, you know, a lot of these Republicans just come to bat for their kind. They're white nationalists.
It's a conservative school, a Christian school.
So what if we flipped the script and made it? What if we made it a liberal? And they're like, well, how do you define a liberal? It's like, well, what if we made him gay? It's like, nobody cares about that anymore. It's like, what if we made him trans?
Boom.
Got it. That's
Bingo.
It. That'll get the Republicans to be like, we got to take the guns out of all these tranny people's hands. And it's like, then they'll write some like 8,000-page law, and it's just like the anti-trans gun law, and it's just like takes guns from everybody pretty much.
Yeah. And they'll name it after one of the little kids that got killed in this school.
Probably. Or after Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
The timing in all this is suspect to me, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right at the same time. Like today, actually, Minnesota, the Supreme Court was visiting a Minnesota law that said that...
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Said 18 to 21-year-olds couldn't carry or something, and Supreme Court was looking to shut that down. Didn't say it was not constitutional. Well, now all of a sudden the Supreme Court's like, we're going to hold on this. We're going to sit on this one.
Look at this one.
This whole thing kind of reminds me of, and I know everything gets compared to this, but it kind of reminds me of January 6th. Because something so obscure, like everybody, like half the people are like, we're not going to vote for that thing, or we're going to vote to overturn the election, or we're going to at least look at this, which the majority of ones like, we're just going to visit this whole this whole election fraud thing. We're just going to, the people want us to look at it, so we're going to look at it. And then this bizarre moment happens, January 6th happens, and they're all like, I ain't touching that one. You know what, just push it through. Push Joe Biden through.
Nothing to do with that.
Fuck it. Don't want it. Don't want to touch it. Don't want anything to do with it. Like, this is one that almost can be like so obscure of a thing where everybody's just like, well, we can't just keep pushing back on guns now, can we?
Right.
Like, do we really want to? Like, even the Supreme Court's like, we're just gonna sit on this one for a few minutes.
But did you see where Biden's press person went? What's her name? Carrie Jean.
Yes.
She went immediately to trans rights.
Of course you did.
So, talk about...
Well, if trans had equal rights, then
absolutely.
this never would have happened.
But Biden has their back. He's always had their back.
I mean, that's kind of a spit in the face to the victims there.
Oh, absolutely it is.
That'd be almost like Donald Trump coming out and be like, I like white people after a white person shoots, I mean, not like he'd ever say that.
Right.
There's a few good people on both sides. I don't know. But, again, whole timing is suspect.
Yeah.
Specifically, the fact that the body camera footage was released
right away.
1 day later. Has that ever happened? Ever? No. Have we ever got the body cam footage without a FOIA request?
Yeah, right. No.
It doesn't usually happen. So I got a little bit of this. So, I mean, let's just watch a little bit, and then we'll talk. All to Apple stuff.
Take this. No, that's locked. Take this door. Take this door. Take it. It's upstairs. It sounds like it's upstairs. Go. Push an LPV up. Push an LPV up.
Oh, they
yeah, they did that on one I saw too.
Oh.
They go second floor.
So they didn't show the whole thing.
No.
Like, you've probably all seen the body cam footage now, which it blurs everything out, so it's not like you see everything.
Right.
Or see anything that shouldn't be on YouTube except for like a mangled foot. What do you think? Why do you suppose they released this footage so unprecedentedly soon?
Maybe they're trying to say, hey, look, we're not Texas.
I was going to say, that was one thing I have. I was like, the first thing that comes to mind is Nashville is bragging that they're not Uvalde. It's like, look, we did it right. We did it the right way.
45 minutes in the hallway.
Yeah, we weren't
still there?
Sitting outside, like hiding.
Yeah.
We got in there and we got shit done.
Right.
I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind to me. Now, a lot of people are saying there's some conspiracy around this, that this was pre-recorded footage, and it was the fact that it was released so soon, which it is weird. Like, this would go into evidence for a while.
Well, yeah, I would think that they would. Yeah, it would stay there. I mean, they would go through, make sure the police officers did their due diligence, that they acted properly before. They would do
There'd
a
be
total
some sort of investigation.
Right. Whenever
first.
there's a shooting, especially from cops, it goes through the whole 9 yards of everything instead of just being dropped out.
Like, here it
there.
is, guys. But again, part of that could just be, guys, don't worry, we did it this time. We weren't them. We weren't Uvalde. We're the Nashville Police Department.
I mean, this could almost be like an advertisement to move to Tennessee.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Tennessee supposedly
we're
has
not Uvalde.
like some of the most lenient gun laws, from what I've heard, though.
Yeah, they do.
As
evidence, right?
What do you think? Good God. What do you think about the whole, hey, this was possibly pre-recorded and released? Do you take any stock into that whole false flag type shit? I mean, we can't get too deep into like saying
I don't usually, but again, it is very odd that they released the footage that quickly.
Now, there is one of these shootings that I've watched the videos over and over again. I'm not going to name the name of it because billion-dollar lawsuits.
At least.
That one I have watched the footage of, and that one I am like, no.
Yeah.
No. But just based on this, just based on the fact that it was released early isn't enough for me to be like, well, this was pre-staged and pre-recorded. It does seem like something like taken right out of like a cops TV show where it's just like, I don't know. It's very, either it's staged and like very like dramatized or these people, this police force is on point, because there's no standing around. There's no like, like discussing like how we're going to do this, how we're going to get in on it. I mean, it sounds like they probably had a pretty good game plan, and they've played this out before.
And they had to know exactly where that person was. I mean, they made a beeline up the stairs. There was no like, okay, room cleared, moving down, room cleared, boo boo. I mean, it was just like beeline up the stairs, bam, bam, bam.
Right. So, I mean, somebody, I don't think there's enough here to say that this was staged false flag, and I'm a conspiracy theorist. But I don't know, just the whole release of it right away, that's fishy to me. That's very suspect to me.
Yeah.
Now, the real conspiracy in this was brought out because of the body cam footage, and that's the shoe conspiracy.
Yes.
And you got to tell me what you think here, because here's oh, I got to pull it up for y'all to see. Here's the image that's surfacing, that's going all over. Like this first one is the school like security camera of Hale entering the school or walking through the halls. And this was the mangled leg like zoomed in from the body cam footage. And according to this was a Puma shoe similar to this one on the bottom, and this obviously is very clearly a flaming pun intended, Van shoe right there. Now,
and that's that on the right side is the foot of the deceased.
That's the deceased. That's when her leg was like kind of twisted underneath her from the body cam footage. This is what you would have seen if they didn't give us the edited version. This is the school footage right here, and they're like, and I could see where they're saying. And when I first saw this, I was like, that is definitely not that shoe. That is not that shoe at all. But then, obviously, this has since been debunked. That's like, because I'm like, who? I mean, leave it to a woman to go into a freaking shooting and have to change her fucking shoes.
Right.
And that was another reason they're like, well, this obviously was staged because they shot one scene here and then they forgot. I mean, if you're going to take the effort to stage something, you would know what shoes to put on.
Right, exactly.
But,
unless they just want to fuck with people.
Well, yeah, a lot of times in these things, it's just like, just do it, and
it's
because
like, dude, put that shoe on.
Yeah, because somebody will catch it, and we're gonna be like, no, that's not it. Your eyes deceive you.
Yeah.
But then I got the whole explanation on the debunking was like the pics, like the artificial lighting and the colors don't come through on certain security cam.
Oh yeah.
And if you zoom in on this, I can almost see how.
Yep.
Here would be the stripe.
Yeah.
And then that yellow would come up on an artificially lit
I could see
security camera. It would show up as the white underneath. So this you're seeing the white or the yellow flame that pops up as white right here.
Yeah, I could see that.
So again, don't think it's perfectly debunked, but I don't think there's enough here to be like that's definitely a freaking Puma shoe. Another thing to point out is that I'm pretty sure is the Vans logo on the back of the shoe too. So, I mean, is it too far-fetched to think maybe this person's wearing two different shoes too?
No,
maybe he's wearing a Puma on one foot.
I mean, the person's not stable.
But
there's times I don't have the same shoes on.
I mean, you probably don't now. So, I mean, there's been so much just about these fucking shoes. That I'm just like, come on. Come on now. Because, yes, that does look, from that angle, it looks like a Puma shoe. But you can also see, in the whole debunking, they're like, well, look, the laces on this one extends past the white. And on this, the laces, well, it could be a different fucking Puma shoe besides that Puma shoe. It doesn't have to just be that Puma shoe. And the logo on the back, Vans has logos. So there's no Puma shoe with a logo on the back? I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's Sharpie on the back of that shoe. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not a Puma shoe. But I'm not saying this is good enough evidence to say this is clearly a false flag, because a lot of people are like, false flag, look at the shoes.
No, I agree. There's not enough there.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy nut job, but
and you
I've
would
got
like
my
nothing
standards.
more than to see two different shoes.
Yes,
but
I would love it if it was blatantly like two very specifically different shoes. But again, if you really think about it, that because you see kind of that line, the black line in there, which could be like the dark right here between the yellow and the white. I'm going to say non-conclusive. How about that?
I will agree with that. Yes. Non-conclusive.
Evidence does not hold up either way. It's either or, neither nor a Puma Van shoe.
Yes.
Maybe it's a hybrid Puma Van shoe.
That's possible.
I don't know. Maybe they changed the shoes just to be like in court. It's like, clearly that wasn't me because I was wearing fucking Pumas. Look in that video. That was not me. But
they didn't expect to get shot.
Yeah, they didn't expect to die on this. Derek says, hold on, man. I got to put on my kid-killing shoes. I mean, the flames scream.
Yes.
Maybe she thought it would make her run faster.
That could be.
She's like, all right, I killed my kids in my kid-killing shoes. Now it's time to put on my, as the Marines call them, my go-fasters, because they got flames on them. They're going to make you run faster, like Sonic the Hedgehog. So maybe we're making this way too lighthearted, as we typically do. So would you say it's debunked, though?
No, I wouldn't say debunked, but I would go non-conclusive.
Like, I hate when they're like, well, this theory has already clearly been debunked. It's like, just because you said no doesn't mean it's been clearly debunked. Right. No. Like, when the police said that they were wearing those shoes at the time, it's just like, that's not debunking. Debunking would be if you had a photograph, like, zoom in, enhance.
Right.
Enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance. Now, adjust the color. Just okay. There it is. There's the flame right there.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. The CIA didn't bring in their CSI technology.
They're dealing with school cameras.
Yes, exactly. Now the body cam photos, cams we know has great resolution, so that we got to trust that. So, we had to address the shoes. Obviously, I would, like you said, I would love to see two blatantly different shoes. I would love it if it's just like a black and white shoe and then just like a hot pink shoe.
Yeah, right.
And they're just like, what
totally
the fuck
obvious.
is up with these shoes? But no. Non-conclusive. We'll just say that. So this gets to, obviously this brought out a shit ton of activists.
Yes. As usual.
As soon as
faves.
Some famous faves that we like loathe to hear the name of the news, like David Hogg. David Hogg, I posted a poll on Twitter.
How'd that go?
I don't remember what the results were. The poll was who profits more from a school shooting? The gun manufacturers or David Hogg? Surprisingly, I didn't get kicked off Twitter for it. It came out 96% to 4% in favor of David Hogg profiting more.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Now, the only person that admitted to voting for gun manufacturers was Dave motherfucking Casey, who's been on our show a couple times, because he said, I chose gun manufacturers because you said who profits more. If it were who exploits more, I would have said David Hogg. I said I knew this was you. P.S. If they all stopped happening, David Hogg would be homeless. So whatever your semantics are, them are the facts. I do believe if the school shooting stopped, David Hogg would be a homeless person.
He would find ways to get something started.
Well, he just would run out of money because David makes money. David Hogg makes money off school shootings.
Oh, yeah.
However you want to say that I'm a fucking monster, David Hogg would not be who he was if it wasn't for school shootings. Maybe he should be thanking the school shooters for making him famous.
Maybe he does.
Probably does. He's like, yes, another one. Got to get my Twitter posts up. And, man, he comes out. He's a fucking cockroach.
Oh, he is.
And
yes, he is.
David Hogg is mad, too. He's pissed.
Of course he is.
He's no longer the innocent schoolboy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that beard.
He's rocking a man beard.
Look at that freaking head of hair and that beard. But he is pissed. Listen to this.
We're rallying at my college this Tuesday, but we need people to join us around the country. We need especially students in state capitals that go to schools like FSU in Tallahassee or MSU. right in Lansing, Michigan, to show up and rally, because these politicians in our state legislatures, this change isn't going to come from Congress immediately. This change has to come from our states, and that's not going to happen until we make those people in power uncomfortable. The only way we can do that is by showing them that you can't just say after a school shooting, wow, there's nothing that we can do, we just have to accept this. Fuck that.
Ooh.
Fuck these people. They don't work for the gun industry. They don't work for the NRA. They work for us, and it is time to fucking remind them of that.
Boom.
Okay. I mean, maybe it's because I'm 37 and I've experienced life, but newsflash, David Hogg, politicians don't work for you as much as they say they do.
Yeah.
As much as you'd like to believe that you voted them in to work for you, politicians never have or will vote for you or work for you.
Yes.
They don't. They work for themselves. They work for the lobbyists. They do. I mean, you
they
can
do.
say they don't work for the NRA. Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
they
because
do.
the NRA
They
is the
pay.
ones that pay
They
them.
pay.
They don't work for the gun. Yeah, they do. They work for whoever's paying them
Yeah.
fucking money. And I'm sorry, but the government doesn't love you as much as you. I mean, you're so close, man. You're so fucking close. That was like. We even said Greta Thunberg a couple months ago. We're like, you're right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're
Just
fucking
take
missing
that-
it. You're
take that
missing
next
it.
step.
It's like, man, you know that they're not working for you. Now just realize that they don't work for you.
Yeah.
And they never will. And you thinking that they're going to save your lives and save all your problems by making more laws, history shows that more laws don't solve your problems because we have so many more laws now than we did 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And how many lives have been saved
Right.
because of those laws? Not very many.
Yeah.
TK says, I sense a little Trudeau. He does look a little like Justin Trudeau. And
Maybe that's what
Justin
he's going
Trudeau
for.
looks like, isn't he like supposed to be like Fidel Castro's son?
That's what he's going
Yeah,
for.
so this is Fidel's grandson? That makes sense. Here,
see it.
let's listen a little more.
The only way that we were able to change things after Parkland in Florida is because students turned out and we
Did they
said,
change
hell
things in
no,
Parkland,
we
Florida?
are going to demand change. And despite what everybody said, saying this is a Republican state legislature and you can't change gun laws here, guess what? We fucking did. If we can do that as a group of teenagers, surely as college students and as high school students and students around the
It's funny. He says, well, we fucking did. And then just with all this happening, DeSantis like passed through some of the like he passed through the permitless carry in Florida. Just like right
wow.
now, he just did
Wow.
this. Probably while David is
Was
saying
speaking.
this. And he's like, DeSantis is listening to this Twitter post. He's like, oh, yeah, watch this. Permitless carry. And he's like, fuck you. I mean, have you ever seen this little man drop so many F-bombs? Man, he's using big boy words now.
He is. Well, it goes with the beard.
It does. Once you grow the beard, you're allowed to say the big boy words. It's fine now. So, like I said, he can't, like, his Twitter just blew up that day. And that's how you know that he lives on this stuff. He thrives on this stuff because nobody gives him the second of the day when nothing is happening.
How many times did he change that to say, no, you know what? I think I need another F-bomb. I need a little more angry.
He just keeps editing in.
Right.
So it just like blips to fuck that, and then it blips back to his speech. Like there was some where he was just like, I can't wait. I graduate this summer, and I can't wait to get busy kicking Republicans' asses or something like that. And I was just like, ooh, big boy on campus. It's gonna be. I mean, this guy's going. Do you think he's going to get the skyrocket to like politics?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think they're going to jump on his jock for politics?
No.
Like AOC or
I
like?
think he's too toxic.
You think so?
Yeah. He's
Well,
like. Imagine who's the that'd be like Kyle Rittenhouse running for office.
But
He
people
may
wanted
show
him
up
to.
at the DNC, right? He might be like the pillow guy, but
Well,
he won't
is
actually run
the
for.
pillow guy. Remember, he
Yeah,
had his
that's
own
true.
pillow.
He was. That's right. He was. But
He
no,
was-
I don't.
he
think
was the
anybody's gonna want him.
anti-pillow.
Yes.
The anti-pillow guy. And he's not going to get anywhere with that beard. I mean, nobody gets anywhere with beards.
No.
Now, his motives are kind of changing though, because I did see where he's like, I'm in no way saying that I want to take your guns. I just stand for stricter gun laws and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, as a gun owner and whose family shoots guns, it's like, I've never heard him say that
Yeah,
before. Somebody
right?
must have called him out on his shit.
Yeah.
Because now he's saying, I shoot guns, my family owns guns. I'm not saying take your guns. I'm saying stricter gun laws. I'm like,
Yeah. He's changing his tone.
I
now.
feel like he might be pushing more for politics because he's more
trying to
pushing towards the center a little bit. Now, one of the things he kept spewing that day was we need to federalize Massachusetts state gun laws.
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, look this up because he keeps saying it and I don't have time to look it up. So what are Massachusetts state gun laws and why?
So Massachusetts does have red flag laws. The biggest thing with Massachusetts is that they're very strict on you can get a permit to carry. You got to be 21 years old. Otherwise, you got to have a permit to purchase, and then they have red flag laws. They have laws against people who have been convicted of domestic violence or has restraining orders against them to own weapons. If you've been dishonorably discharged from the military, any mental health problems.
Does gender dysphoria count?
It doesn't mention that. My guess is they would go by the psychological handbook. The big thing that I saw with that is they're very big on you can't have semi-automatic weapons. You can't have
fully semi-automatic weapons because I saw that on the day. Somebody's like, "We need a ban on these fully semi-automatic." And my response was, "You realize by putting the word fully on there, it doesn't make it fully
semi." Yeah,
doesn't make it any more fully semi. It's still semi-automatic.
You can't have 50 caliber weapons. You can't have high capacity magazines, which is anything over 10, and you can't have anything over 5 shotgun shells. So
probably 98% of shotguns don't carry more than 6. Most of them are the 2 magazines. You don't. There's not a lot of people that own. Maybe there is, but there's not as many people that own the magazine-fed assault.
Not typically
assault style shotguns.
Yeah.
Tactical shotguns is what they call them. Most people own shotguns for hunting reasons. And look, if you have a shotgun. Shotguns are for different motives than like ARs. ARs are for like engagement, I guess. Yeah. Shotguns are like get the fuck away and like blow a hole in you.
Yeah, it's more defense.
Yeah. I would say that ARs are more for defense, but ARs my reasoning for ARs is more for if I'm defending against more than one person. Right. If somebody just comes through my door, A, I'm going to pick up my pistol probably because it's the closest to me, or B, I'm going to pick up the shotgun because I know it's going to put a big-ass hole in them and they're going to stop.
Yeah.
12 gauge buckshot's going to hurt a little more and have a little more stopping power than an AR is, no matter how deadly you think an AR is.
Yeah, right. Like you said, it's more multiple engagements.
Derek Ambrose says he's from Iowa and has a drum-fed 12 gauge for hunting. Derek, we are in Iowa. Let's talk. Let's talk sometime. If you're not a Fed. Now, the last time I heard people say, let's get together and shoot guns and have a gun club was what's his name? Brandon Caserta up in Michigan. So if you're a Fed, nah. But Derek, I don't think you're a Fed. Let's talk sometime because we're not too far away, and that sounds fucking badass. Where were we?
Massachusetts
gun laws, and I mean, a 10-round mag, it's gonna slow them down.
Right.
I've seen people change mags really fucking fast, though.
Oh yeah.
I can change a mag pretty fucking fast. Yeah. You can get the tape together. You've seen where they tape one on the other, so you just pop it out and pop the other one.
There's ways around it.
I mean, I don't know if you can with the 10 because it goes up in the magazine that you might not have as much grip, but it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
The school. I mean, the only thing is they're like, well, we can't regulate guns, so we can regulate the capacities, I guess. Right. But I mean,
and then it was ARs are illegal or anything that resembles an AR.
If it looks scary, it's illegal.
Yes, it said copycat ARs are also illegal.
So AR platforms, they're still fucking ARs.
Right, exactly.
What about 22 like ARs?
22 is not considered
but it looks like an AR.
It does, but yes, a 22 is on the books. It's okay.
What about a carbine like 9mm that shoots a pistol round but is on an AR platform?
My guess is because it's 22. I think was the line.
What about a airsoft gun that is? We could do, I mean, this is how ridiculous this
you're
is.
right,
It's just a
you're
color
right.
and a
Absolutely.
shape.
Yes.
I mean, you
You
can't
can keep nickel
because
and diming it.
5.56. There's plenty of hunting rifles with 30 capacity or 20 capacity or 10 capacity, whatever. Same capacity. That's a wooden. Freaking might not have a pistol grip is the only thing, and it's not black and scary.
Right.
How racist is that you think the
Right.
black gun's the scary gun?
Exactly.
I mean, seriously. Not one of you guns. It's one of them guns. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go all in. Don't make any laws, first of all.
Right.
But these are such, like, Band-Aid, like,
They
like,
are.
we did something here. Yeah. We outlawed the scary guns.
Yeah.
The most popular gun in the country, but we outlawed them.
But Massachusetts is supposedly.
What about AKs? Because they don't look like ARs.
You know, they didn't mention the AKs.
But they're Russian, so.
That's true. It didn't say anything about foreign guns, though.
Oh, I mean, true. I don't know. There's so many questions here, and none of it's gonna fucking work.
Yeah,
This
but
is a great part of it.
They still very much follow the 94 assault weapon ban.
But the thing is, there are so many ARs and so many fucking 30-round mags out there that even if you're like, well, we'll allow the ARs, but we're not going to allow the 10-round magazines, it's like, but you could just go anywhere and get a 10-round or a 30-round magazine. Right. Like, there's so many manufacturers out there that has there's so many out there just on people's homes.
Yeah.
That just have magazines. So it's not like they're just going to disappear.
Right.
Like, I'll just be like, I'll just buy a 10-round magazine to say I only have 10-round magazines. Don't worry, I got rid of the rest of the other 6. It's retarded.
It's stupid.
You know what we should do is we should outlaw murder.
Right.
You know, while we're at it, you know, they keep saying, you know what we do to get a hold on these school shootings is we ban guns. You know what all these school shootings actually have in common? Schools.
Yeah.
We should fucking ban schools.
Yeah.
No schools, no
I'm down
fucking
with
school
that.
shootings.
Yeah.
Problem solved. As well
Exactly.
as a lot of other psychological damage that is done. Ban the
Yes.
public schools.
Because who
No
fucks
more
up
school
kids more than
shootings.
schools?
Yeah, exactly. Problem solved right there.
Yes.
Just
I
ban
agree.
the schools. Just eliminate the problem at the source.
Problem solved.
No more school shootings if we ban the schools. I love
I'm
it.
down for that.
Derek says they need to just make it illegal to kill people. That would stop all this for sure.
Yeah. That's common sense, though.
I mean, now you're encroaching on my constitutional rights to kill people.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways to solve this besides going straight for the guns, like outlawing killing, like making shooting people illegal, like banning schools.
Right.
I don't know. There's so many
there's
options.
common sense rule.
Yeah,
ways to
common
do this.
sense school laws.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Just no more fucking schools.
Yeah.
So we talked about David Hogg and his activism. What about
his
you
man
had
up.
brought up this activism here, which got really weird. This one got weird. It says this is from Senator J. Adam Lowe from Tennessee District 1. It says, yesterday, protesters held up 7 fingers to add the shooter as a victim of our recent tragedy. Have you ever seen that in any school history of school shooting? It's just like, Columbine, 32 dead, but we're going to hold up 34 fingers for make sure we represent Dylan and what was the other kid's name?
Yeah, right.
No, because obviously this was a victim of...
They're fucking murderers.
Well, she was a victim of trans abuse.
Oh, yes.
So
right. She wouldn't
she's
have
a
done this
victim.
if it wasn't for society keeping her down.
He says, I'm convinced more than ever that this protest was staged to distract from what the Covenant shooter was and the condition that led to her homicidal action. When I tried to discuss the safety and security of our schools, I was met with redirection towards gun control. When I tried to discuss mental health, I was met with shouts of trans rights. When I tried to talk with 9-year-old victims, they wanted to talk about when I tried to talk about the 9-year-old victims, they wanted to talk about the 28-year-old assailant as a victim. Discourse is clearly not possible right now, so those of us in the majority are forced to create solutions alone. There is no cooperation from the left, only tantrums, and the result is they have isolated their influence. Democrats back home should be concerned at this, and those who carry their flag in Tennessee's capital. TK says, we need common sense tornado control too. Tornadoes of mass destruction have no place on our streets. Absolutely. What do you think about this? Do you think that's what's going on here? I mean, I can't see what the signs are saying, but I do clearly see 7 fingers being held up. So I don't know.
I can see that. You know, them again trying to murder this person.
Yeah.
You know?
But again, how do you play like anti-guns, anti-school shooting, but pro this was a victim status? Like
right.
It's that they're eating themselves in this. It's just like, well, it's kind of like back with where the trans people are all holding their guns and stuff. It's like, aren't these the same people on the same side that are supported by the side that are trying to take guns from the people?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it
doesn't make sense.
None of it. This is a mind-melting situation.
Yeah.
And if this were a false flag, this is exactly what they want.
Yeah.
To melt the mind so much that they can be like, guys, I think we can all come together now and realize that guns are bad.
Yeah. And I don't think I've seen a mind melter like this before with shootings.
No, this one takes the cake, the sparkly cake. Somebody said, wait, Senator J-Lo? J-Lo. It is Senator J-Lo. Now, gun laws are coming.
Yes.
They are. Because what comes next? Obviously, the gun laws have to come.
Executive orders, right?
Something has to come. Now, I've heard Biden talking more, like you said, about trans rights than about the guns, which I'm sure is pissing off some people, not even just the Republicans, but the people that are like, well, what are you going to do about the guns? He's like, well, the trans people need rights too.
But, you know, the couple weeks leading up to this, I saw a lot of social media posts from friends of mine, liberal friends, talking about trans rights, protecting trans people, and you know, and justified anger towards.
Have you seen a lot of trans people need to arm themselves, kind of like the?
I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that because the people that have been posting are not trans.
Well, I feel like because any other shooting, Biden would have been up there saying we gotta have common sense gun laws, but it's just been more about trans rights coming from him. So this is a conundrum for all of them. It's just like, well, we need gun laws, but we can't. Do we disarm the trans? Like, what do we do here? What do we do, Jack? So this was a scene in Congress this week on Capitol Hill. This is Jamal Bowman from New York, congressman from New York, versus Thomas Massie from Kentucky, no less, where this happened. So this is them discussing like rational human beings, like what we need to do.
In a school that allows teachers to carry guns, would you more guns lead to more death. Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby. No. Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more deaths. In every school, states that have open carry laws have more deaths.
How is that true? States that have open carry laws have more deaths, because I know some of the cities that have the strictest gun laws, i.e. New York
or Chicago,
have
more
a
deaths.
lot of deaths.
Yes,
lot of gun deaths.
I can tell you,
and they have a lot of gun laws.
Yes, I can tell you the states that I know of that have open carry. I don't hear of a whole lot of shootings.
Who's that?
The states that have open carry.
Yeah,
I mean, look at say Iowa. All right.
TK says a tranny problem used to be a car trouble. Now we're lost. Did you see the meme of it was the mangled shooter picture, but it was up in like a car lift, and it was like, seems like I ran out of tranny fluid. Terrible. I do not condone that joke.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the statistics, because one side will say that, well, look at city by city basis, like New York and Chicago and like the states with high gun violence, but then the left will say, well, look in like Texas has had school shootings recently. Uvalde was in Texas. Kentucky has very lax gun laws. Shooting in Nashville.
Right.
So it really depends on what statistics they're looking at, because if they're looking at like the mass shootings, you might be able to put that more, but you might be able to put that more recently on some of these other states. But if you look at overall daily gun violence, I would say New York and Chicago and LA take the cake. And those 3 states have the strictest gun laws. I can hear your wheel spinning.
Says the study found a significant average increase in the rate of homicides without a firearm, 8.8% in states that relaxed restrictions on civilians carrying concealed weapons in public during the same period.
So violence without a firearm?
Without a firearm.
That makes no sense.
That doesn't make
I don't know.
sense.
This statistics are bullshit, in my opinion, anyway. They're going to swing them to fit whatever narrative.
Well, that's the thing. The numbers can be cooked either way, so it's not something I would even trust.
But when you get, like, Representative Jamal Bowman screaming, like, more guns? You think more guns is the solution?
Are you even looking at the numbers? Are you looking at the statistics?
That's why I think this is going to be like another J6, where it's just like a lot of people are going to be like, because who was it? One of the Republican congressmen actually came out that day and was just like, well, there's really basically nothing we can do about gun violence. It's just like, you couldn't have dug your grave harder.
Could you say something stupider?
Yeah, you couldn't have done more for the gun law advocates than say there's nothing we can do. Or for, because that was one of the things David Hogg started using the big boy words for. He's like, you can't do anything? Fuck that.
Yeah, and, you work for us, bitch.
So I don't know. I think more and more people are going to be like, you know, my hands are tied. Like, I'm washing my hands of this.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. Yes, there is a gun problem. Do what you got to do. Just like January 6th. It's like, you know, we really were just going to take a look at this. Don't want to touch this shit now. So I don't know. Whether or not you call this a false flag or a pre-staged event or a tragedy, it's become, once again, a political stage.
But like you said,
immediately.
Though, the interesting part of this is that if they push red flag laws, right, saying, well, if you have a mental issue, emotional issue, then you shouldn't have a gun. Okay, well, then you're admitting that trans.
No. They didn't say the trans was the mental issue. They were saying that she was shy in middle school.
I know that, but,
and she had an obsessive.
Yes, she was obsessed towards her middle school, and I would agree with that. You know, I would say that she had bigger problems than her gender dysphoria, if she did have that, but
they never once would even suggest.
Oh yeah, because then you ruin the Trans Day of Violence if you do that. So they can't go there.
Where does this go, Bill?
Again, I think they're going to martyr this chick. The trans community is going to put her on a flag. She's going to become Joan of Arc. I think they're going to try to initiate some kind of mental health rules, red flag laws for gun violence. Or for gun possession.
TK says Jamal Bowman there, congressman, is a good example of unhinged, a.k.a. not well regulated. They can't believe anyone else can control themselves because they can't. I mean, that's a fair point. Yeah. I honestly...
She's going to become the Che Guerrero of the trans
movement. Personally, I think it's going to go the other way with her.
You think so?
I think the trans community is going to isolate from her, just like they wanted to push back again. They didn't want Jeffrey Dahmer to be considered part of the. They threw a bitch fit because the Dahmer series was under the LGBT section of Netflix. They're like, we don't want to associate with that. Why are you associating us with that? Even though a giant chunk of that series was about his gay relationships. Right. And I mean, it's understandable, but that's kind of like a white person not wanting to be compared to freaking
Charles
Manson or the OKC guy.
Right.
What's his name?
McVeigh.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh. Or, I mean, the Unabomber, sure. I like his qualities, minus the bombing parts. I like his
jib.
I like the stuff he says. I don't like necessarily the bombing part.
Yeah.
But again, I understand how they don't want to be tied to that. But as hard as they pushed against this, all it would take is a Republican to be like, look, he was trans or she was trans. And they're going to be like, no, allegedly.
Right.
It has not been confirmed.
Yeah.
Just because she posted the him, her pronouns on Facebook doesn't mean they were trans.
Right.
You cannot come to that conclusion. It's just like, wait a second. So I honestly think there will be a push back away from no, that was not one of us. We're not that, because it only leads to more problems for the trans community. It's like, well, now we got to study, is there some kind of mental thing going on here, which there is. And should they be allowed to own guns, which I'm not saying that that's a reason to not own guns like Ben Shapiro is, because Ben Shapiro is shooting himself in the fucking foot when it comes to gun laws and constitutional rights. But I think it makes things a lot more messy if you admit that this was part of the trans community.
I agree, but I think there is a segment that's militant that will claim her.
Probably, yeah. But I think the mainstream trans people, like all the TikTokers that you see, like the RuPauls of the world or whatever, it's going to be like, no, that's not one of us. Stop lumping that into us.
In the vein of stricter gun laws, do you see a relaxing of trans laws?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think of any of it, really. Because I see the Supreme Court is overturning a lot of gun laws, but they did take a break on that one case in solidarity for this. And hey, maybe we shouldn't declare this unconstitutional today because of this. So
we're in recess till next month.
Yeah. Let's wait till this blows over. But the trans law thing, I think it's both going to be both are going to become a militant battle, to be honest. You're talking Civil War status type. You see it, there's a group of trans people or activists that are willing, that want to kill those that oppose their point of view.
And it appears Christians are their target. If that one is accurate, if it's not a doctored thing.
Sure. But then I don't know. I think that something's coming and it's going to be ugly. And is it going to be led by the trans community? I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're building this thing up. They're building something up. It's going to get ugly really quick. So maybe the government that's why they want to take our guns. Because leading up to this month, I've been seeing a lot of posts on Twitter about national divorce, lots of them.
Oh, yeah.
More than usual.
Yeah.
And then now would be a great time for the government to come in and take your guns before people get these crazy ideas that we need a national divorce, because there's a lot of guns out there. So if we get the guns off the streets, there's no such thing as national divorce anymore. So I don't know. That could be part of this too. But it would seem that the media wants a split, but I can't imagine the government would want a split.
No.
So
no.
Who knows? I don't know where this goes.
Yeah. Nowhere good.
I don't know. If the Puma shoe fits, wear a Vans, I guess. I don't know. That's
do they discontinue that shoe?
Let's
not do the flaming shoe anymore.
There's got to be something to that flaming shoe. That's all I got for this. You got anything else to add? You got any final thoughts? Any words of wisdom?
One other op-ed I had seen was somebody who was very upset that they were not referring to Audrey by the proper pronouns in her afterlife.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a lot of these news agencies are saying her and saying Audrey.
Yeah, it's they're not being respectful to Aiden, because this is what he wanted to be referred to, and he's not being referred that way.
So we're victimizing the school shooter.
Right.
It's who fucking cares what we call this person?
Right. They're dead.
Dead.
And they deserve to be dead.
Yep. Dead. Murderer. That's my pronouns are murderer/dead.
Yeah.
That's what it should.
Yeah.
That's
and
all we
everything
care
else
about.
doesn't matter. Did you see Bill Maher was coming out and being like, we shouldn't, address the person's gender identity or their religion or their race whenever there's a school shooting. We should just avoid all that stuff.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
They're just a murder. I mean, if it's a blatant hate crime, we have to address a blatant hate crime, whether no matter what side it's on. It's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill all these Irish people just because I can't get in trouble for saying that because I have a ginger beard. I'm gonna fucking kill all these Irish people. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to address the motive behind it was that person clearly doesn't like Irish people.
Right.
I mean, you can't just be like...
Did not like the way he was treated at St. Patty's Day.
Well, gee, this person just had what did they say, like, about the school? They had, like, a grievance towards the...
Oh, yeah.
They just had a grievance towards St. Patrick's Bar. That was it. It's no, they fucking hated Irish people.
Yeah.
Like, you can't... not point out when something is a blatant hate crime, but you also can't just blanket everything in a hate crime when it fits your agenda. It's just like, well, out of the 18 people, 3 of them were Mexican, so that person clearly had a distaste for Mexican. It's like they stretch it when they need to, but when it's like, well, this person doesn't like, they went and killed a bunch of Christians, so could we call that a hate crime? I mean, without further evidence, I don't even think you could call this a hate crime. Without
unless they specifically wrote a letter saying, I'm going out to kill all the fucking Christians.
Well, yeah. And until we find the manifesto, we can't see that. But just because they killed everybody they killed happened to be Christian, well, it was a Christian school. That's like walking into Chinatown and spraying. It doesn't mean you're racist. It's just like there was a bunch of Chinese people, and you hit them all.
Right.
I mean, it just happened to be where I was. It's just like, well, that school is close and it looks easy to get into. And they're like, well, a hate crime towards the Christian. Maybe, not necessarily.
Yeah. Like I said, my question is, and I haven't been able to see any information, was the other school also a Christian?
Yeah.
Or was it just a regular school?
And they keep bringing up this manifesto, and I have not read one word of what, besides the maps, detailed maps, and the planning.
Seriously redacted.
I want to know what's in this manifesto. So,
because,
show us the manifesto. I mean, you got the body cam footage to us in 24 hours. Can we get the manifesto now? Because that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's all I got. That's it.
Me too.
This is a bizarre one.
It is. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it spins out.
It is. I mean, it's going to spin out crazy too. Yeah. So. That's all we got. Make sure you check us out all over social media. Let us know what you think about this one, about this shooting. Do you have any false flag conspiracy theories? I saw one that was like, well, the address was 33, and they killed 3 kids and 3 adults, so it's obviously Freemasons and the 33 and all that stuff. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I feel it might be a little stretching.
Yeah, a little bit.
But maybe. I know these people do, like the sick bastards at the top, do like their symbolism, but, I mean, that's stretching. If you've heard any other thing, it's hard to find the good conspiracy theories these days. They get buried really quick, especially after Alex Jones and Sandy Hook. Hit me up on social media. Hit us up at the handle @BreakTheBellPod on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I hang out mostly on Twitter. Or you can, if you don't want to be as public, we have a Facebook forum called the Breaking the Bell Forum where you can come just chat with us and not have to worry about like your coworkers and shit seeing your crazy conspiracy theories. That's what that's for. Go find the Breaking the Bell Forum and invite yourself in and we'll chat. Derek, we need to talk about this freaking shotgun drum. We do. Like, share, subscribe, as the kids say these days, all over the Facebook, Twitterverses, and Instagram, so that we can get our name out there and we can be famous. That is why we do this, is for the fame and the notoriety. Always. So do that for us, and we will love you more than we already do. Otherwise, be back for the morning show that I do with my brother of the System Is Down podcast, the Two Scoops Morning Show. I forgot the name of it. We do it tentatively Tuesdays and Thursdays whenever we feel like it, which has been less Tuesdays and Thursdays than has been. But check it out. We probably will do something this week sometime, possibly tomorrow. So it's a good plug, isn't it?
It is.
Otherwise, be back here next Monday night for another special fun-filled episode where we'll talk about something. Don't know what.
Something screwed up, probably.
It'll be screwed up, and it'll be awesome. So
yes.
Have a great rest of your week. We will catch you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.